Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, pull up this screen here. This is going to be a fun one. We've got a 5-star QB that's named the Vols as one of the very top teams that he's interested in coming to play for. And we've also got a special note. He mentioned the golf ball incident with one Lane Kiffin. And as usual, Lane wants to be on the show again to talk about all this. So against my better judgment, I'm going to allow him back on the show. Usually things get a little bit crazy when he's here, but you know what? The guy reached out. What am I going to do? Tell him no. So we'll be hearing from Lane. But let's get into this story. And this is by Zach Reagan. He's becoming one of my favorite sports writers. Very good writer. And we've got so many good writers that cover the Vols. It's really an embarrassment of riches. You know, it's just, I'm not even going to name them all because there's so many good ones. But he's, in the last couple of weeks, had some really good ones. And it talks about one of Tennessee's most notable moments was during Josh Heupel's first season in Knoxville during UT's loss to Ole Miss Rebs. Of course, near the end of the game, you remember how everybody got all fired up and got mad about questionable calls. And, of course, all those fake injuries that Lane Kiffin's known for. You know, unlike Nick Saban, Nick tries to go to the rules committee and get rules changed because he can't stand how fast we are, and we did beat him with our high-pace tempo offense. But Lane goes the different route. He basically just decides to cheat and have fake injuries, which is actually pretty effective. And Nick won't lower himself down to that level. But Lane has no problem with that. And it talks about one of the items, a golf ball actually hit Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. Now, personally, I have no idea how that could have happened, how a golf ball would have even been brought into, the stadium and then somebody having a golf club and all. I have no idea. I don't know anything about golf. So it must have been just somebody that didn't like Lane and maybe had a little grudge.
Always try to hit through the ball.
Hard to say. Oh. Forget what you just saw. Tennessee was fined for the fiasco. And many college football analysts suggested that the trash throwing incident would be a black eye for the Vols in recruiting. And right from the get-go, I thought, I doubt it. Knowing how kids are today, they probably loved it, the passion of our fan base that we get so upset. I mean, that's where you want to play. Neyland Stadium is the most awesome experience that you can have in sports. You saw what happened at Alabama, at the Alabama game last year, the Florida game, the Kentucky game. I mean, it's just nuts at Neyland. And here it just shows where Lane got hit by a golf ball. It said, but it doesn't appear to be the case that it hurt recruiting. Jaden Davis, the number 2 quarterback in the 2024 recruiting class, spoke about his recruitment. He's a native of Charlotte, and he has the Vols in his top 5, and he's really high on Josh Heupel and Coach Halsley. Says, I have an unbelievable relationship. They always show me nothing but love. The atmosphere at Neyland Stadium is unmatched. Of course, I was there when they beat Alabama, a night I'll never forget, and won against Ole Miss where people were throwing stuff at Lane Kiffin. It's always an unbelievable experience when I'm at Tennessee, and I love everything about the Volunteers. And the writer here, Zach Reagan, says, it certainly doesn't sound like one of the most coveted recruits in the nation views the Ole Miss game as a negative. Obviously, it's a positive. And the top 5 that he's got is Tennessee, Clemson, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio State. Most people think Michigan is a favorite. But look, I think if we didn't already have the number 1 recruit in the country in Nico, he'd be all about it. We'd probably get him. But look, it's really hard to get a 5-star and then another 5-star the next year. Probably our best bet is going to be Jake Merklinger, and he's a great quarterback too. He's the number 58 recruit in the country, a very high 4-star, and he's super high on the Vols as well, us and I believe Michigan State. So I think we're going to pick up a really good quarterback in 2024. I don't know if we'll get a 5-star or not, but look, I cannot explain to you how many quarterbacks and wide receivers want to play in the Josh Heupel offense. Look what it did for Hendon Hooker. You know, he's got a torn ACL and probably going to go in the first round. His numbers were unbelievable. Matter of fact, let's look at those numbers. And here you go, Hendon Hooker, 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And, of course, we know Joe Milton had 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But look at these numbers. Every quarterback that plays for Josh Heupel, Drew Lock, 45 and 13. Then Mackenzie Milton, 34 and 6. Dylan Gabriel, 33-7, 34 and 4. Now, how many quarterbacks wouldn't love to have those numbers? Well, that's what Josh Heupel's offense, along with a talented quarterback like a Hendon Hooker or a Nico or a Joe Milton, can put up. You know, you put a very talented guy in this offense, and it's going to be a heck of a marriage. So, of course, every quarterback that can run and's got a great arm wants to play for Josh Heupel and be a Vol. It makes perfect sense. But there's only so many positions available, and there's only one football. So it's always going to be tough to start stacking 5 stars the way that some teams used to be able to do back in the day. It's really going to be difficult. But, you know, you got the transfer portal. So even, you know, if you don't get him this time, you might get him 2 or 3 years down the line. You never know. There's just a tremendous number of high-skilled players that want to be a Vol, that want to play within the Josh Heupel offense. Makes perfect sense. I know I would. I don't have any eligibility left, though. Plus, I'm a terrible football player, so. But as I promised, Lane wants to be on the show. So let's get Lane in here. First of all, let me start with a question for you, Lane. Number one, you just saw that Jaden Davis actually enjoyed the whole golf ball incident and the French's mustard and all of that. And, of course, you know, you were faking all those injuries like you always do. You know, what do you got to say about all this? You wanted to come on the show. Let's see what you got to say. Well, hello, folks. Lane Kiffin here, your old buddy. You remember me? I know you want me to come back, and I'd love to be back there as the head coach, but now's not the time. But there'll be a time when this will happen. Just always keep the faith. That's what I'm doing. Look, you know what? The whole golf ball incident. Look, first of all, I don't fake injuries. It just so happened that we had a tremendous rash of cramps during that game. I don't know why that happened. You know, it wasn't really a particularly hot day, but it just happens. You know, it seems like whenever we go up against a high-tempo offense, we just have a lot of cramps, and they always happen at the most inopportune times for the offense. It's just, look, that's just, it happens, okay? That's number one. Number two, look, if Jaden Davis really should come down to Ole Miss and try to be quarterback down there, I think he'd be a lot happier. You know, he doesn't want to go up there and have tons of touchdowns and really low number of interceptions. Come down here and I'll run you all over the place, you know, let you get hit a whole bunch, and then I'll run off on you and go to Michigan or to Auburn or somewhere like that. And, you know, you can transfer out after that because I really don't care. Did I say that out loud? Man, Sports Talk Jay, he starts getting in my head a little bit. But look, Sports Talk Jay, you know, the whole golf ball incident and all that, I'm going to figure out who did that. And when I do, I'm going to sue the crap out of them. Just know that. So one day I'll figure this out. And the French's mustard thing, you know, look, Hendon Hooker, I understand, got some sort of NIL deal over it. So at least something positive came out of that. But one thing I'm going to talk to you. Quit talking about me going to other teams all the time. That's messing me up, okay? Yeah, maybe I talked a little bit to Auburn, but I wasn't really going to go there unless they met my price. That's number one. Number two, this business that if the Michigan coach leaves that I'd be interested in Michigan. I would not be interested in Michigan unless the price was right. So always remember that. So, you know, you need to quit talking about that and quit acting like I want to, you know, oh, I want to come back to Tennessee and show all that crap where you think you're so funny with the little clip and all. I don't want to see that anymore.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that either. I just yell sometimes because I get so scared. I want to kiss you all over and over and again till the night closes in. Till the night closes in.
Okay? I'm at Ole Miss for as long as I possibly can be there until a better deal comes along. So remember that. I'm very, very loyal. Well, all right, Coach, I appreciate you coming on the show. I have absolutely no idea who hit you with that golf ball, but when I find out, I'm going to send you the name. Don't you worry. So don't you worry about that at all, okay? And look, I'm only giving you grief about leaving and going to other places because that's what you've done for the last, 10, 20 years. So that's the only reason. And as far as your fake injuries, you know, maybe it was just a rash of cramps that happened to occur every time we got on a run. You know, maybe that's what happened there, or maybe you're just full of crap. I don't know. It's one or the other. But here's the good news. We're going to find out about that 5-star March 31st is when he's going to decide. And again, he's going to do that at 1:30 on SportsCenter. So that's less than a week away, isn't it? So I'm not a bit surprised at that whole French's mustard golf. Look, that's just funny, and that's just passion of the fans. Everybody made it out. Look, because the national media doesn't like us. That's what it is. They think we're kind of, we're a little bit trashy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So be it. What it is, we're just very passionate about our team, and we want to win.
Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
And we don't like it when somebody cheats us. So we get a little bit upset about it, and we start throwing a few things. A golf ball, French's mustard, just things you might have in your pocket. All right, folks, just wanted to cover this. I thought that was pretty interesting. Lane seems to always wind up in the middle of this show somehow, some way. I don't know how, but it just happens. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols. And the Lady Vols are playing tonight at 6:30, and I hope they beat Virginia Tech. That's their number 1 seed, and Tennessee's the number 4 seed. So we'll see how that goes. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols. And right as I was turning over here, this is the subscribe button. Hit that little button. Just boop. It's all you got to do. A lot of you watch my videos, and you just don't hit that button. Anyway, I would appreciate it if you would. And right over here is my most recent video. Be sure to check that out. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.